So Hydrosilex Recharge is a product that many detailers are talking about, and it's more on the expensive end. And so these are really the kind of products that, it's not that you want to like, I'm not trying to dog anybody, but I do want to test the durability of products like this, because what's the line between the product being more expensive because it actually works better, lasts longer, shines better, protects better, and it's more expensive just because it caters to the detailing garage guy who likes to have 1,000 products because it makes him feel good in his heart because he loves detailing. It's like, I'm not really sure what that line is. So all I want to do is put this on the hood of this car, because this is a car that I can see on a regular basis, and basically test the durability whenever I want. Now, this car has been washed and clayed, so it's ready for the Hydrosilex Recharge to be applied. Now, to spare you guys the monotonous directions, basically you just apply it like a regular spray wax would be applied. Spray it on the paint, buff it in, buff it off, and it doesn't actually have a dwell time, so it does not ever say here on the directions that it needs to dwell for any sort of time. Now, the properties it says it has right here, I'm reading from the directions: self-cleaning, hydrophobic, mirror effect, and that's kind of what we're going to be testing. Is number one, I'm just going to go ahead and apply it to the whole hood, and I'm using like probably way more than I need to, but I'm just kind of doing that on purpose because for the sake of the video. Buff it in, buff it off, and we're going to do an initial water beading test after I put this on. But again, it doesn't have any sort of dwell time, so that is, I don't know, advantageous, maybe, maybe not. Does it actually work? Generally, products that have some sort of a dwell time, in my experience, have a longer lasting sort of hydrophobic effect. They're more durable generally, not always, but most of the time. So anyway, this is a car that's just got a very easy one to kind of test things on, so that's why I'm doing it here. But again, after I do the initial water beading test, I'm going to apply one more layer of the Hydrosilex just to make sure that the water did not actually wash any of it off here instantly, and then we're going to maintain it kind of week by week and see how long it really lasts. Now, this car is not particularly maintained or like kept, so the paint itself is in pretty bad condition as far as scratches and correcting that needs to happen, but you guys can still see kind of the mirror-like properties, I guess, is what the description on the back of the bottle kind of described it as. That sort of shine and reflection. You can see the clouds on the paint, so it definitely does a good job as far as shine is concerned, but not really what I'm concerned about here. So what I want to do here first is not necessarily use a pressure washer or anything like that, but I'm just going to take a hose with no nozzle on it and let it run and see kind of what this looks like as far as the hydrophobic properties after the initial application are concerned. So I'm running the hose over the entire hood, and you guys can see it kind of creates a sort of like sheeting effect, which is why I did this. So let's go ahead and just look at how it kind of beads up this water after that water hits it. So I just turned the hose off and I didn't touch the paint at all. And you guys can see the only real water up here is kind of up here in the top left, but everything else, like there's some drops here and there, everything else is totally dry. There's barely any water on the paint here. So check this out, you can see a few drops here and there. There you go. Totally dry there. So I want to see if we can see a little bit of the beading, so I'm going to try to use this nozzle to break up the water just a little bit. You can see that run off the paint. So there's definitely more of a sheeting kind of effect that happens with the Hydrosilex. So you guys can see the beads are there, but they're kind of, basically you see there's a little bit less surface tension, I guess is the best way to say it. The less surface tension you have, the less the beads are going to make those kind of really, really tight beads. And you kind of have these flatter beads, and I don't even know if I would call them beads necessarily, but again, you have that kind of sheeting effect. So that is what the Hydrosilex looks like with the hydrophobic test after the initial application. Basically, all I'm gonna do is go ahead and apply another coat, and then we're gonna see week by week what this kind of coating looks like as far as a car that sits in a garage but is not necessarily maintained, driven on a daily basis, and we're gonna see how long the Hydrosilex will actually last. So that's it, just a quick little video of a video that will lead to a bunch of others, because we're gonna keep testing the durability of this with water, kind of looking at the hydrophobic properties of it over time. And I'm doing the same thing with this Hydrosilic recharge with things like Adam's ceramic spray, Bead Maker, Meguiar's hybrid ceramic wax, all these products, because I don't really see any sort of like empirical evidence online of, hey, how long do these things last under normal conditions? Because that's really the question that you gotta ask. It's like, for the real world average person, how much is a product like this going to actually last over the long term? And it's not saying the product is bad or good, it's just like, let's just get an answer to that question. It doesn't mean, you know, the one that lasts 3 weeks is worse than the one that lasts 6 weeks. It's like, depends on what you're after. If longevity isn't your goal, then whatever, look at other variables. But to get some of these things nailed down is just important for the detailing community as a whole. So anyway, I actually like Hydrosilex Recharge. I've been using it for probably about 1.5 years now and getting mixed results depending on what kind of variable you're testing. Definitely check this product out in the description box below this YouTube video. There'll be an Amazon link. It'll take you there. If you use my links, it gives this channel a small commission, but it helps me to continue putting out durability videos like this to get to the root of what these products actually do. So if you're like me and you love everything auto detailing, then definitely consider subscribing. And as always, from Luke here at Wilson Auto Detailing, keep working hard, and I'll see you guys in the next video.